Good afternoon. How are we doing? Good. Um, your role as a leader is enormously consequential. It's enormously important. And the rate of change that you all are experiencing is probably higher than you ever have. I was reflecting on this image that I put back on the screen behind me. People moving back and forth, spending time moving from meeting to meeting, engaging with a variety of changes all the time. That is the work that is leadership now. And as I reflect on that work and the work that you do, it is what we call living in a time that is VUCA. Has anyone heard that term before? VUCA. One that's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And the world that we live in is that, right? The change and the amount of change that we're experiencing right now might be more change than we've experienced before. The amount of change, the rate of change, and our ability to engage with that change. I get to spend a lot of time thinking alongside leaders. I spent a good chunk of my career at the Ross School of Business, helping our future MBA students and business leaders get a good sense of who they are as leaders to prepare them to go out into the world. I spent now a lot of time thinking about our executive teams at the University of Michigan and executive teams that come into the University of Michigan for training on how to become and be high-performing teams to lead through change. And now I have the opportunity to think through our entire enterprise in terms of how we manage change, how we think through it. One thing remains really clear to me as I engage in this work is that no matter if it's someone that's starting out their career or is here maybe towards the end of their career, is that change is apparent among us. Our ability to be resilient in it is enormously important. And so I share that with you because as we engage in today's conversation, it's not only the skill sets that you have in order to be successful, has a lot to do with our capacity to lead and our mindset and our ability to do that. And so today we're going to begin to explore what does it look like to bend, not break, to have a resilience mindset, to have an attitude about change that might challenge our ability and our status quo for how we are leading right now and for who the kind of leader we need to be for our teams and for ourselves moving forward. And so over the course of today, when you hear a keynote speaker, you hear someone that's going to talk at you and is really going to inspire you. And I hope to do that. And what I hope to also do is to keep this energy going. I had a chance to engage with some of you before we began today, and I really appreciate your energy. I want to continue to bring that. So I'm going to ask for volunteers. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'm going to ask you to shout some stuff out. And I think if we do that, we'll make this a lot more fun and enjoyable. Does that sound good? All right. I'm not sure I believe you yet, but we'll see how we go. Over the course of today, as Laura said, we're going to break this into two components. The first part, we're really going to focus on resilience and defining what that looks like and our capacity to lean into it. We'll take a break, you'll engage and network, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a lot about what is our own moments of resilience, what is our capacity, and think about our self-awareness there, and then our capacity to lead others through it. So we want to talk about how we understand change, and we're going to talk about change, we're going to talk about resilience, and we're going to talk about challenge because we experience those things oftentimes over the course of our career, days, lives, weeks, all the time. And what change overload looks like. And if we're overloaded, our capacity to lead is often more difficult. We'll spend some time looking at resilience, the characteristics of it, and our ability to navigate through it. You'll gain insight into your own resilience right now, and also consider how to develop it like a muscle. And then finally, we'll come back and we'll talk about how do we use resilience to improve outcomes of our teamwork, the challenges that you're up against here in DTMB, and how we can think about collective resilience going forward. I think we'll have a lot of fun and we'll engage and you'll get to know one another as well. But I want you to think for a moment. I want you to just picture this. I want you to picture that you're in a kayaking class. You're learning how to kayak for the very first time. And this instructor tells you to get down in your kayak, squeeze it, put your helmet on, helmet's a little too tight, and you're sitting there looking at the water. You're about half of everything that this instructor says because you're looking out at the water and you see what we call, and if you know anything about whitewater, you're probably familiar with the term whitewater rafting. Whitewater is unpredictable. It moves fast. There are stones. There are rocks. The instructor says, I want you to imagine being in this kayak and trying to imagine what it's like to kayak down this river upside down. Because the role here as a kayaker is not always navigating what's here on the surface, it's navigating underneath. And then the kayak instructor says to you something that you do here, which is, you will flip. And so you begin to panic. You begin to think, I'm not prepared for this. I have not done this before. We began to think through all of the things that our moment has prepared us for. And for most of us, we've prepared to get the moment right, to be perfect, strive for perfection, get the job well done, do a good job. This moment is not about having a perfect recipe. It's not about following a recipe to a T. Step 1, step 2, step 3. There are no steps here. It's about experiencing the moment as it comes and understanding, what do I do when I flip? What do I do if I feel like I'm not ready? And so this is about not having a recipe, not having a playbook. This is about thinking about our mindset that's required of us when we need to be a little bit more like a chef. More like a chef who thinks on principle, knows what their values are, knows what ingredients to use, and is principled and anchored. That's what I think about resilience. I think of resilience as a lot about agency. It's about how do we create and feel empowered, knowing that in the moment, we're not really sure what's going to happen. We're not really sure what tomorrow brings. So we get creative. We brainstorm with one another. We create a sense of collective belonging. And we think about our capacity to lead in times like this. I'm curious, when you think about change, what comes to mind for you? How do you define change? What are words that come to mind for you when you think of change? Different. Uncertain. Updates. Interruption. Adapt. Stress. Flexibility. Improvement. Adaptability. Excitement. Learning. Growth. Opportunity. There's a whole host of words there, and change is on a spectrum. I'm going to get curious with you all and say, how many of you love change? There's a lot of hands up. All right, so we're going to put you way down here on the spectrum. You love change. What pumps you up about change? Opportunity to learn. It's not boring. Something new. It's exciting. Opportunity. Okay? Some good engagement. We got some change makers here in the room, which I like. Let's go to the middle. Sort of say middle of the spectrum. We're okay with change, but it's not our favorite. Raise your hand if that's you. What do we feel here? Uncertainty.
What kind of change? Is it COVID in a tornado? Or is it a lot of change? You win the lottery, that's a change too. Or you're going on a trip to Europe, that's a change too. But I don't think you can put it all in one basket. You have to adapt to what that means. You have to analyze it.
Absolutely.
Is it life-threatening or?
Right. And so it depends, right? So this camp falls in under it depends. What's really interesting about the whole, you guys have heard the field change management, right? A lot of times people say change management's out the window. Because change management was always about preparing for that thing that we knew was coming. What's that?
If it's true change, you don't.
And if it's true change, you don't. And so now, what does change look like in your day-to-day?
Every day.
Every day. It's all over the place. We're experiencing it from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, personally and professionally. We experience a whole host of change all the time. So yeah, it depends. It depends on what kind of change it is. It depends at the rate of change. It depends if it's a change we wanted, if it's a change we didn't want, if it's a change personally, if it's not. So it really depends, right? It depends on our ability to think through that. Let's go way down here on the other end of the spectrum. How many of you would say, I absolutely hate change? One of you, you're lying. Let me put you on the spot. What is it for you that's difficult about change?
I'm a planner.
A planner. And so your ability to plan is in competition with change. How many of you feel that tension though? Absolutely. How many of you like planning? A lot of us do, right? It helps us prepare for the moment. But what you're helping us get a good understanding of is a tension that we all feel in organizations, is process, structure, plan, repetition, policy, procedure, often at odds with a tension in an organization, which is about change, innovation, pushing beyond the status quo, doing things we've never done before, innovation, brainstorming, right? Those are at odds with one another. And our ability to have a process that is slow, thorough, thought out inhibits our ability sometimes to think through what it might look like when that's thrown out the window. How might we ... And so our ability to think through that is challenged. You also face another challenge as leaders in the organization. The balance between culture and results. I'm seeing head nods. So there's residents here, right? How do we build empathy, understand our people, provide diverse perspectives, understand where people come from, create some empathy, bond with a team, create team engagement, cohesive, building that high-performing team? That's often that challenge with our ability to drive a result, push forward, get the result done, check the box, mark it complete, celebrate, win. So every day you're toggling between these tensions that every organization, every person, every team faces all the time. Our ability to win, drive results, at tension with our ability to collaborate and lead people. The tension between process and structure is that tension with our ability to innovate and push beyond status quo. That's what we call the competing values framework. And that is of the core, one of the top most 40 powerful management frameworks in the world, because there are organizations that you all resonate with this all the time because you experience it almost daily. The challenge for you now, though, is that you're experiencing that balance all of the time, right? Culture, process, results, innovation. And that balance can become really exhausting. And so what I want you to think about here, as we think about these challenges, sometimes our ability to move through a challenge and recover from our challenge changes based on how much energy you're spending on it. So take a look at the graph behind me, right? Is that when a challenge begins, right, we oftentimes spend a little bit of energy thinking about it or a lot of energy thinking about it, depending on our state of resilience or who's on the project team, of how much energy we're spending until the challenge is resolved. But regardless of what that challenge is and how much energy we're spending, you all said that you feel the word exhausted. Am I right? Yeah, and so it's tough. And so there's a lot on our plates. And so how we get through this is primarily up to us. And that's the goal of today. What is our mindset as it relates to change? How do we cope and think about who's around us to support us through these changes? We also think about the role of expectations through it. So when I say mindset, there's this reality versus expectation, right? We build mental models of the world. Some of you view the world very positively. Some of you view the world very negatively. We do the same thing about change. We do the same thing about our daily experiences. We already, when we walk into something, we judge it right away.